Hey, amazing viewers. I love connecting with all of you from around the world. Stay with me until the end, because this story is packed with surprises that will leave you inspired and thinking differently. Today's twist is something no one saw coming. And if it's your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Show some love by liking the video, and don't forget to share it with your friends. Have you ever felt like something wasn't right, even when everything around you appeared perfect? Like the calm before a storm, when the air seems too still, and yet, deep inside, you sense a shifting energy. What if everything you believe is true is merely a thin layer covering up something far more profound? Imagine being caught in a web, every thread pulling you in different directions, and no matter how hard you try to untangle yourself, you're stuck. This is not just a story. This is a message to you about the subtle forces that move around you, unseen but undeniable. At first glance, the scene seems harmless, a birthday gift, a gesture of goodwill, something to celebrate the passing of another year. It's a box of chocolates, delivered with what appears to be genuine affection. But what if I told you that this seemingly innocent gift is more than just a sweet treat? What if it's a symbol of something far darker, something you're not supposed to see, but you feel it nonetheless? You might laugh it off. After all, what's wrong with a box of chocolates? Isn't it just a small token of affection? But here's the truth. This is how it begins. The subtle moments that don't seem important. The words that seem meaningless. The gestures that are wrapped in kindness, but laced with hidden meanings. And as you continue to walk through life, unaware, you might find yourself tangled in a situation where you can't escape the truth. The question is, how long will it take for you to realize what's really going on? Think about the way you interact with those around you. How many times have you brushed off a feeling, a gut instinct, a whisper of doubt that you couldn't explain? How often do we ignore the signals that something feels off because the world around us tells us to ignore it? We're taught to play along, to pretend everything is fine, and to trust the smiles, the handshakes, the gifts. But there's always more beneath the surface. Take the character of Amy, for example. Her mother-in-law, Patricia, sends her a box of luxurious chocolates, expensive, hand-picked, and wrapped in elegance. To most, this would be the perfect birthday gift. Yet for Amy, it stirs something deeper, something she can't fully explain. She tries to push it aside. After all, Thomas, her husband, is thrilled by the gesture. He's pleased, and Amy doesn't want to rock the boat. But deep down, something feels wrong. She knows that there's something about this gift that isn't what it seems. This is where the power of intuition kicks in. It's the voice in the back of your mind. The one that tells you to pause, to question, to stop accepting things at face value. Yet, society trains us to ignore it. We are told that doubt is a weakness, that trust is the foundation of relationships. But the truth is, doubt is often a hidden strength. It's your internal compass, guiding you when your surroundings can no longer be trusted. And in this story, Amy's doubt is her warning. It's easy to assume that everything is as it seems. Amy could have accepted the chocolates without a second thought, could have smiled and thanked her mother-in-law, and could have brushed off her inner warning. But Amy chooses to listen to that quiet voice, the voice that knows that not everything wrapped in kindness is pure. Because here's the reality. Life is full of hidden agendas, of motives that are not always clear, of intentions that aren't always good. And this is where the story takes a turn. The tension begins to rise. Amy's unease grows, and with every passing moment, her world starts to unravel in ways she never imagined. She begins to understand something. There are forces at work around her, and those forces are not as benevolent as they appear. It's a chilling realization that those who claim to care for you may not always have your best interests at heart. The warmth that seemed to be offered is a mirage, a smokescreen to cover the cold truth that lies underneath. This is the moment when you must ask yourself, how much do I really understand about the people and situations in my life? How much of what I've been told is the truth, and how much is simply a carefully constructed illusion? Life isn't a fairy tale. It's not always clear where the danger lies, but it is often closer than we realize. It's time to open your eyes. Let's pause for a moment and ask, how much of your life is really in your control? It's a question many of us avoid because it makes us uncomfortable. We love to think we're in charge of our own destinies, that the choices we make are our own, that we steer the ship of our lives in whatever direction we please. But what if that's not true? What if the control you think you have is just an illusion, a carefully crafted facade that keeps you from seeing the truth? Now, consider the story unfolding before you. Amy, caught in the quiet web of family dynamics, is living proof of how easily we surrender our power without realizing it. At first, everything seems fine. A mother-in-law offers a gift, a gesture of goodwill. The husband is pleased, and the wife simply goes along with it. This is how it always begins, small, seemingly insignificant moments where we choose not to rock the boat, where we let things slide, and where we convince ourselves that everything is fine. But it's all smoke and mirrors. The illusion of control is powerful, and we fall for it every time. Amy believes she has a choice. She believes she can control how she responds to her mother-in-law's gift. She can choose to accept it, to thank Patricia, and to let it pass as a moment of politeness. But what she doesn't realize is that the moment she allows herself to believe that everything is fine, she's relinquishing her control. Every time she lets her guard down, every time she chooses to ignore the warning signs, she becomes a pawn in a game she doesn't fully understand. Think about it. We've all been there. We've all been in situations where we felt compelled to appease others, to ignore the uncomfortable truths in favor of harmony. But at what cost? How much power do you give away when you choose not to question? In Amy's case, the more she tries to fit into the mold of a perfect daughter-in-law, the more she loses herself. It's like walking a tightrope, always trying to balance, to please, to conform, while beneath you, the ground becomes increasingly unstable. Yet you don't realize it until it's too late. This is where the real tension begins. The seemingly innocent chocolates, the gift from Patricia, become the perfect metaphor for Amy's life. At first, it appears harmless, maybe even sweet, just like the way she views her relationship with her mother-in-law. But deep down, Amy knows better. She can feel it. The discomfort, the small signs of manipulation, the subtle ways Patricia's kindness feels like it has a hidden agenda. These are not random occurrences. This is a pattern, one that has been in the making for years, and Amy has been a part of it, unknowingly contributing to her own entrapment. It's easy to say, just stand up for yourself. But when the control is not entirely yours, when the strings are being pulled by someone else, the task becomes infinitely harder. The people around you, the ones who seem to care, are often the ones shaping your reality, pushing you into corners, forcing you into choices you never wanted to make. The illusion of control can be the most dangerous trap of all. Amy begins to see this as her story unravels. The chocolates, once a symbol of thoughtfulness, are now a catalyst for a far darker reality. Her choices were never truly hers. Her husband, Thomas, oblivious to the shifting dynamics, sees things through the lens of idealism. He believes that Patricia is just being nice, that everything is fine, and that Amy should just accept it. But Amy starts to see through the cracks. The veil is lifting. Patricia's perfect facade, her sweet smiles, her thoughtful gifts, are nothing more than a mask, carefully crafted to make sure Amy stays in line, stays compliant, and never questions the power dynamics that exist between them. The more Amy tries to fit into this mold, the more she realizes she's losing herself, and the more she loses herself, the more she feels trapped. And now, here's the question that hits hardest. How many of us are caught in the same trap? How many of us are silently complicit in our own disempowerment because we refuse to question, because we're too afraid to disrupt the illusion? Amy's story is a wake-up call, a reminder that sometimes the real fight is not against external forces, but against the way we've allowed ourselves to be shaped by them. In the end, we all have a choice. You can continue to play along, to accept things at face value, to live under the illusion of control, or you can wake up. You can choose to see the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it challenges everything you've believed. It's not easy, but it's necessary. The question is, will you choose to see? Everything in life leads to a moment, the kind that you can't undo, that you can't unsee. It's a moment where the threads of everything you've ever believed begin to snap, and you're left standing in the ruins of your illusions, wondering how it all went wrong. And for Amy, that moment had arrived. The chocolates, once seen as an innocent birthday gift, had morphed into something far more sinister. And in their wake, they left Amy standing at a crossroads, one that would forever change how she saw herself and her life. Imagine this. You've spent years trying to play by the rules, trying to be the perfect wife, the perfect daughter-in-law, the perfect person. But somewhere along the way, you've lost yourself. You've bent, twisted, and contorted to fit into someone else's vision of who you should be. You've ignored the signs, the whispers, the gut feelings. And then, one day, you wake up and realize you've been living in someone else's story. Amy wasn't ready for the truth. No one ever is. She had spent years hoping that her relationship with Patricia, her mother-in-law, would improve, that the awkwardness, the passive-aggressive comments, the subtle digs would somehow fade. But as the phone call came through, and she learned about her husband's condition, her husband, who had been poisoned by those very chocolates, Amy's world began to fracture. That was the tipping point. The moment she realized she was living in a story that wasn't hers to tell, that wasn't hers to endure. The truth was not in the gift. The truth was in the hidden intentions, in the years of manipulation, in the quiet control that had slowly tightened around her life. Patricia had never truly accepted Amy. The chocolates were not a gift. They were a weapon, a well-crafted piece of strategy in a game Amy had never asked to play. And now, the game had turned deadly. But here's the powerful message I want you to take away. There is always a point of reckoning, a moment when you can no longer ignore the truth. The question is, what will you do when it comes? Will you continue to live in the illusion, allowing others to pull your strings, to shape your destiny? Or will you face the reality that you've been avoiding and take back what's rightfully yours? Amy had a choice in that moment. The same choice you have now, to keep playing along, to keep pretending everything is fine, to continue pretending that your life is under your control when it's not, or to stop, to take a step back and see the world around you for what it truly is. The truth is powerful. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's freeing. And when you finally see it, when you break free from the chains of manipulation and the control that others have had over you, you will understand the immense strength that lies in choosing your own path. The moment of reckoning is not the end. It's the beginning of your liberation. So ask yourself this. When the truth comes knocking at your door, will you open it, or will you keep hiding behind the illusions you've built? The choice is yours, and the time to choose is now.